stand on Yugambeh land. All Saints Anglican School would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of this land. We honour and respect the elders, past, present and emerging, and their traditional methods of caring for their country. We also wish to acknowledge those of our Indigenous brothers and sisters who wish to share their knowledge for the sustainable care of their country.
Introducing Rob Breuer. Rob is the first speaker in the energy efficiency component of the Operational Leader program. Entrepreneur and avid outdoorsman, Rob founded Solar Schools to combat global warming through lasting behavioural change. Rob found a genuine interest in global warming and took time to research peer-reviewed studies on the subject. He also draws inspiration from other sustainable business leaders. Rob's training is in business information systems, and he has extensive experience working as a programmer, production manager, and as the director of Brown Paper Bag. Through rock climbing and bushwalking, Rob has gained a deeper respect for nature. Leave only footprints is the motto he and his fellow rock climbers live by. For the past 18 years, Rob has been the CEO of Solar Schools. We hope you enjoy his presentation at the 2020 Sustainability Symposium.
Welcome everybody, I'm Rob, one of the founders and creators of the Solar Schools program. It's fantastic to be part of the 2020 Sustainability Symposium. I'd like to talk to you today about energy efficiency, data in the Solar Schools program. We at Solar Schools believe that energy is the foundation of all sustainability initiatives. Energy is part of our everyday lives, from food production to transport to heating, cooling, lighting, even the online resources we consume on a daily basis. There is nearly no aspect of our current lives where energy is not a major component. In schools, this is even more important. There are 9,500 Australian schools. Combined, they form one of the largest emitters of CO2 from energy consumption alone. At Solar Schools, we've combined real-time energy data with innovative online applications to create a whole-of-school energy program. The program is designed to be used by business service managers and administrators to monitor energy consumption and cost in real time, alongside teaching and learning spaces. As an example, schools that have used our program have managed to save $2,250 per month off their baseload energy cost. It's nearly $30,000 a year. All of our teaching and learning resources are Australian curriculum aligned and are easily integrated into the STEM learning areas. By utilising real-time energy data in the classroom, students get to interact with energy and bring it to life in real terms. They can turn things off in the school and see straight away the impact of that energy consumption change. This is designed to create long-term behavioural learning patterns. I'll leave you with Roberta to overview the program.
Solar Schools makes it easy and exciting to teach students about energy efficiency. We believe in creating lasting behavioural change through education. Our mission is to empower the leaders of tomorrow today. We provide the tools they need to make informed decisions and reduce their energy footprint. You don't need a solar system to be part of the Solar Schools program. We use metering to monitor your school's energy consumption, and if you do have a solar system, we also monitor your solar generation. This data is displayed in a detailed school energy profile available on the Solar Schools website. This helps schools view their energy and take active steps to reduce their consumption. Students can view their school's live data in the Planet Watch app. Teachers can access ready-to-go unit and lesson plans from the Teacher's Toolkit. We have unit plans from Years 1 right through to Years 12. All lessons are aligned with the Australian curriculum and including engaging STEM activities for students. Teachers can easily create collaborative projects across maths, science, social science, English, arts and technology learning areas. To complement this toolkit, we created additional resources in the knowledge bank and covered key terminology in the glossary. Teachers are supported every step of the way with additional information and resources to complement the unit and lesson plans provided. Training is also offered to groups of teachers who wish to understand how to make the best use of the Solar Schools material. If you're interested in becoming part of the Solar Schools program, please get in touch.
The history of Suez is about an ambition to support major revolutions for human progress. It's the history of hundreds of innovations that help improve mankind's health, protect the environment, and preserve resources essential for life. In 1869, Suez becomes the name of a canal. This was the inauguration of a technological feat that gathered for over 11 years the expertise of the best engineers of the time. By creating the Universal Maritime Suez Canal Company, Ferdinand de Lesseps wanted to fulfill the crazy ambition of the pharaoh's ancient dream to connect east and west by building a 160-kilometer canal between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. Since the first day of operation, the Suez Canal revolutionized world trade.
Le canal de Suez, c'est le début de notre histoire.
It's the beginning of our industrial adventure and the birth of our name, Suez.
But it's much more than this.
Es la voluntad de participar en la construcción de un mundo nuevo.
De un bienestar compartido por todos que nos motiva a día.
At the end of the 19th century, with the Industrial Revolution underway, history speeds up and the world begins its urbanization. Water, an essential resource, becomes a public health issue.
Imagine, in those days, almost no one had access to running water at home.
Side by side with cities, Suez plays a key role in the public hygiene revolution. Engineers innovate in the field of water services. They're able to build water and wastewater infrastructures over great distances. Since 1880, large European cities like Paris, Bordeaux, and Barcelona developed their first water and wastewater networks. This revolution in public hygiene results in fewer epidemics, a lower mortality rate, and constantly increasing life expectancy. At the beginning of the 20th century, household waste becomes the next public health issue.
We've always been pioneers in waste management.
In Paris, Suez invents the first ever motorized refuse collection vehicles and introduces a waste collection system using 300 traction vehicles. After World War II, metropolises emerge across Europe, America, and Asia, and cities equip and modernize. Vast urban areas have to be managed sustainably, and suburban growth must be supported. It's no longer enough to supply water to the city. Now it's also a question of ensuring a constant level of quality, meeting the massive rise in consumption, whilst avoiding wasting water and treating urban wastewater and industrial effluents. Urban growth also forces a change in waste management. Suez innovates by creating facilities capable of managing waste on a large scale. Challenges faced by countries in the north are now becoming issues for the south.
苏伊士能源集团不断创新，为世界各地人们提供饮用水，缺水地区的居民也包括在内。
At the end of the 1990s, Suez became a world reference in environmental services in Europe, the USA, South America, China, Africa, the Middle East, and shortly afterwards in Australia. On the 12th of December 2015, at the end of the COP21, the first Universal Climate Agreement was signed unanimously by 195 states and the European Union. Citizens everywhere take action for the climate and the environment and call on all players to step up their contribution. 150 years after the inauguration of the Suez Canal, a winning spirit continues to motivate all the group's employees. Suez is announcing a new ambition to shape a sustainable environment now with cities, industries, and citizens.
Sustainable solutions enable our customers to have a positive impact on climate and on the planet's natural capital.
Parce que l'innovation change le monde, Nous imaginons des modèles zéro déchet. We develop cutting-edge technology solutions to optimize water use.
Dépolluer les sols, améliorer la qualité de l'air et rendre les villes intelligentes.
Our solutions will enable our customers to avoid yearly 20 million tons of carbon emissions by 2030.
100% des solutions que nous proposerons aux villes et aux industriels d'ici 2030 seront durables.
Motivated by a passion for the environment, the 90,000 Suez employees are committed to inventing disruptive solutions to preserve and restore the fundamental elements of the environment, water, air and soil, and to shaping a sustainable environment together, now. Suez, the winning spirit.
Introducing Bob Sharon. Bob writes, during these most challenging of times, it's most imperative that we look for opportunities to innovate in the operations of smart buildings, assets and cities. By leveraging the Internet of Things, smart wireless sensors, analytics, machine learning and trusted supply chains, our world could be a much better place to live and work. Bob is particularly proud of his organisation, Blue IoT's PropTech GreenTech global leadership in the development of the world's first virtual cloud-based Internet of Things building management system, environmental management system, which is saving up to 50% of total building energy and carbon footprint. This Aussie innovation is now going to the world and will make a real difference to the global triple bottom line. In the energy efficiency component of the Operational Leader program, Bob's going to share a little bit of information about the blue economy. We hope you enjoy his presentation today.
G'day everybody, my name is Bob Sharon and I'm the founder and Chief Innovation Officer of Blue IoT. Who is Blue IoT? We were founded about 4 years ago almost, in June 2016, tasked with trying to improve buildings and cities, smart buildings, smart cities, which is what we're all about to do. We started from very humble beginnings and then we have grown to where we are today. Now, what is Blue? Blue IoT, Internet of Things? I'm sure you understand, but the blue part is the blue economy. And you might ask, what is blue economy? That is, what does it take to build a building, to build a park or a school? What does it take to maintain it? What effect does it have on the faculty, staff, students? And what effect does it have on the community and the greater planet as a whole? That's the blue economy. It's a 360-degree approach to what we're doing. So when we started, we said what we want to do is support smart cities, integrate smart buildings, connected devices within them to make life better for people, to improve efficiencies and save carbon footprint. So that's what we set out to do in the beginning when we started. So we set out to then, in the process of doing this, we established and developed a system called Encompass Blue. And the reason we call that, the blue again being the blue economy, encompass because we encompass people, buildings, and yes, schools. And so what that means is we're able to provide a system which we developed as a BMS EMS, that is a building management system, energy management system all in one, that not only automates everything in a building and saves energy and does a whole lot of good things, but also looks after people inside those buildings and makes it a much better place as well. But it also gets rid of energy waste. So the system that we developed in this whole process, being Encompass Blue, is that full BMS, EMS, what I like to call on steroids. So traditional companies like Honeywell, Siemens, Schneider Electric have developed systems for a long time, and they've done wonderful things and automated the air conditioning, and you walk into office buildings and they're all running in an automatic fashion. Something goes wrong, alarms get sent out and so forth. Our system is run from the cloud, and all the logic sits in the cloud, and it means we can do things faster, we can do things more intelligently. Machine learning and other things then get added, and further enhancements can be delivered effectively on site, combined with some special hardware that we developed Again, that can be upgraded over the air, but in a very cyber secure manner. That is, it's a non-IP network, it's a radio network. And so it means we can put wireless devices, whether it's a temperature sensor, a CO2 sensor, or whatever, on the walls or wherever in the right position, because we don't need power cables, we don't need communications cables. So much quicker to implement, much faster, and then we can get rid of a lot of energy waste in the process. The other thing, of course, is what happens afterwards. We don't leave site like in the traditional way of doing business, because through our subscriptions, what we do is we provide a complete service around interpreting data by our domain expert engineers. So we're constantly delivering savings to the bottom line. And in fact, we found in one school, when we walked through, that there were 3 classrooms over the school holidays that had the air conditioning going on the whole time. That's just how it was. And there's a lot of energy waste. But with a system like ours, that won't be happening. So we can certainly reduce our carbon emissions quite dramatically, save money, and redirect those energies into something a lot better. Now, because of all of these things, we have won some amazing awards. I'm very proud of our great team. We won the IoT Pioneer Award back in June last year at the Melbourne Exhibition Centre, and that was by Next Media. Next Media produce computer reseller news, IoT Hub, IT news. They've been around for many years and very well established in publishing for IT. And then last November, we took out the FM Innovation Award for Industry Excellence by the FMA. The FMA is the Facilities Management Association, which is the peak body in Australia for FM facilities managers, building management, and it was a great honour to receive that last November in recognition of what we have achieved. And in fact, the system that we have put in and the systems we've put in have saved up to 50% off the total utility bills and up to 76% of the HVAC, the air conditioning, heating and cooling side of things, is just unbelievable. It is phenomenal numbers while making the spaces much more comfortable for people. But the system not only does this, the system goes into predictive maintenance so we can prevent outages and reduce unplanned maintenance. And then we go into health and well-being of faculty, staff and students through monitoring of carbon dioxide in rooms, because if there's too many people in a room, then you get CO2 build-up and people fall asleep and become unproductive. And that means the average grades are going to go down because people can't concentrate. That's one example. Mould, dust, noise, air quality, water quality, all these things go into our human side of things. So this is quite an expansion on the traditional system that is all encompassing into health and wellness and student excellence. And these are the areas that we can now support. So we have a special add-on for schools, and that is where we will be providing an app for those schools that take our service, and students will be able to provide their input and therefore have a say and make suggestions. How can we improve this? What else can we do to make it better, to reduce our carbon footprint, to make it a better place for students, for faculty and staff? What can we do? So we will be providing this at no added cost. It will be just something that we want to do our part to help students learn more and to have them contribute to a better planet and a better place. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your time. Thank you for watching me present and talk about this. We want to make a difference. We are making a difference to all our clients, both in Australia and now we're moving abroad. So thank you very much for this, and what I would like, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me at info@blueiot.com.au or go to our website blueiot.com.au or get in touch with Katie or Peter Evans. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.
Introducing Miles Goldstone. He's the final speaker today in the energy efficiency part of our program. Miles has over 13 years' experience in the electricity industry, with 9 years in solar photovoltaics specifically. He is the co-founder and sales and marketing director at Adapt Energy. Adapt Energy design and installs solar systems for commercial, industrial and residential applications with a focus on quality, professionalism and client satisfaction. We hope you enjoy Miles' presentation.
Hello and welcome to this introductory video on Adapt Energy and solar electricity. My name is Miles Goldstone, co-founder and solar power enthusiast. Just a brief background on myself. My first role after university was working for an electrical engineering company in the UK. We were exploring ways of growing and improving the business, and we started to look into solar energy, and this lined up with my passion for sustainability. With Australia being one of the sunniest places on Earth, I thought what better place to pursue solar as a career. Shortly after, I was sponsored and working for a solar company here in Australia, and 5 years later, in 2015, I launched Adapt Energy with my business partner Paul James. During our first 5 years in the solar industry, consulting to various companies, we learned that there were many solar installers cutting corners, using cheap components, and not designing and installing their systems correctly, leading to countless issues. We knew that when solar was installed and designed correctly, it was a fantastic product that was not only cheaper for the client in the long run, but fantastic for reducing our dependency on fossil fuels, and when applied correctly, it's surely something that should be installed on every premises that requires electricity. With this in mind, we liaised, networked, and got to know some of the best installers, suppliers, and engineers in the industry who we now work with to deliver residential, commercial, and industrial solar projects to the highest standards. And our customer satisfaction levels and quality of workmanship is something that we are very proud of. The energy requirements of our modern world are constantly evolving, and up until very recently, the sun produced enough energy in a single day to supply the world's energy requirements for an entire year. Solar photovoltaics, or solar PV in short, is a technology that converts sunlight into DC electricity. We then use inverter technology to convert this to AC power, which we can use for our everyday electrical appliances. Our process is to assess the energy load profile of our client, determine if these energy requirements will be consistent in the future. We can then custom design and engineer the most suitable solar solution. We work with a number of panel manufacturers and inverter manufacturers so we can be flexible in providing the most suitable products for the application. Once we've presented the proposed system, including its energy offset potential and estimated savings, and the client is happy with the figures, we can then work with the grid provider to ensure our system integrates with the transformers and grid infrastructure and can operate as a grid-connected system. Hybrid systems with batteries are becoming more popular and could be the best solution, but due to the cost of batteries, it is generally best to utilise the roof space for grid-connected PV initially, with the view of adding batteries in the near future as technology improves and the price comes down. For every kilowatt hour of solar installed, you are offsetting approximately 1.23 tonnes of carbon dioxide. So a 100 kilowatt system over its 25-year life, you could be looking at over 3,000 tonnes of CO2 offset. That's the equivalent of around 45,000 trees planted. Just to help you visualize a 100 kilowatt system, it's around 300 panels. The number of panels required to achieve 100 kilowatt is reducing all the time as panel efficiencies are improved. A typical residential system is now around 10 kilowatts or 30 panels, but many households are seeing the value in installing larger systems to offset even more carbon and potentially make money from selling power back to the grid. There are also federal government programs which bring the cost of solar down and contribute to the financial appeal for clients, including the STC and LGC programs. The STC scheme is like an upfront rebate. This applies to systems up to 100 kilowatts in capacity. The second government program is referred to as the LGC program, and it is designed for systems greater than 100 kilowatts in capacity. Instead of an upfront rebate, the client would receive annual payments based on the amounts of renewable energy produced from the solar system for the previous year, and this is valid up until 2030. In terms of the financial benefit, solar is now far cheaper than grid power. For solar power, your levelized cost of energy is effectively somewhere between just 3 to 4 cents per kilowatt hour over the system's 25-year life. With network charges, grid power will generally cost between 20 to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. This means we are paying approximately 500% more for dirty power than we could be paying for cleaner, renewable energy. If you have capital to invest, our clients are typically achieving 20 to 30% return on their money, but this can vary between 14 to 40% depending on the application. If you would rather not invest the capital up front, we have industry-leading finance partners providing green loans, lease-to-own or chattel mortgage arrangements, which often allow our clients to save more than the repayments, leaving them in front from day one and putting them in a cash flow positive position. Well, that's it from me for now, so thanks so much for listening. Feel free to contact us for further information, and let's take on this climate crisis together.
I'm sure you've heard at least something about coral reefs. Other than being incredibly beautiful, coral reefs also have an important role in nature. Not many people know, but coral reefs actually cover only a tiny percentage of the oceanic floor, but they support the ocean's oxygen production. The ocean generates about half of the Earth's oxygen. This is half of the air we breathe. We will not survive a minute without corals. But what is a coral anyway? Are corals a rock, maybe plants or animals? If you guessed animals, you are correct. Coral reefs are one of the most diverse ecosystems in nature. Just picture this. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia is actually the largest coral reef in the world, the equivalent to 70 million football fields. That's one big reef. Sadly though, these ecosystems are under pressure. They are affected by pollution coming from factories, vehicle emissions, agriculture, and even what you pour down the drain affects them. Tourists touching and stepping on coral reefs also contribute to their destruction. Even many sunscreen lotions kill and make our corals sick. How is it that not everyone knows this? Everyone needs to know. We need to understand corals so that we can protect these fascinating ecosystems. In this course, you will learn about the incredible biology of coral reefs and learn how they are affected by climate change and other threats. And eventually be involved in a community to get involved with supporting conservation initiatives in their area. Just imagine how much you can do and contribute to maintain our coral reefs. Be the voice of these beautiful ecosystems, and let's teach everyone how to protect our oceans.
The final section of the Operational Leader program starts with Nicholas Bernhardt. Nicholas is the CEO and founder of Informed 365 and has been working in the corporate social responsibility space for over 10 years now. Informed 365 provides cloud-based solutions to help users see and understand their environment, social, governance data. They help any organisation to visualise, track and calculate critical data in a meaningful way that allows them to make better, more informed decisions and improve efficiency in their business. Informed 365 do this through providing real-time web-based applications covering supply chains, ethical sourcing including the Modern Slavery Act, business intelligence including greenhouse gas tracking and calculating, and climate change resilience. Their applications use ultra-fast analytics, big real-time data, and connectivity via application programming interfaces coupled with customised dashboards to convert any data into actionable insights. Prior to Informed 365, Nicholas held senior investment banking roles at Standard Chartered Bank and Nomura Securities in Zurich, London and Tokyo. Please welcome Nicholas to the 2020 Sustainability Symposium.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Bernhard. I'm the CEO of Informed 365. Delighted to be involved in the 2020 Sustainable School Network Symposium. My topic for today is ethical procurement and how procurement can make a difference and drive change. First, let me talk a bit about Informed 365. We're an Australian-based tech company that provides cloud-based solutions for organizations to manage, monitor, calculate and track their ESG and CSR data. ESG, environment, social, governance. CSR, corporate social responsibility. We literally visualize data in a meaningful way to ensure our clients make better, more informed decisions. Provide 3 solutions. One of them, very topical, is a supply chain management ethical sourcing application, where we help track aspects such as labor, human rights, environment, community, consumer issues, governance, and fair operating practices. Our second solution is a data management business intelligence solution, where we track any kind of metric, be it energy, water, waste, recycling, paper usage, pro bono, volunteering, physical well-being, etc., etc. And the latest release is our climate change resilience application, where we basically project climate change metrics across any asset, be it a building, a train station, an airport, an agricultural asset, a bridge. We track things like precipitation, temperature change, flooding, bushfire risk, etc., etc. But let me get back to the key topic for this session: ethical sourcing and the difference we can make. Now, I could just rattle off some statistics, but I thought I'd turn it around a bit. I'll pretend there's an audience out there and they're just gagging to fire away questions at me. This is what lockdown does to you. Anyway, here we go. First question, Bob over there. What is ethical sourcing? Well, ethical sourcing is a process of ensuring that products and services being sourced are obtained with the minimum negative, or preferably no, environmental and social impacts. Environmentally, this should be sourced from sustainable, environmentally friendly sources, and socially means that workers delivering the products or services are treated and paid fairly. Question in the middle right there. Why is ethical sourcing important? That's a really good question. I'm not sure procurement professionals realize the power they have. Let's imagine a hypothetical world where, irrespective of price, all CPOs and procurement officers only source products and services that are based on renewable energy and contain no exploitation of workers. What would happen? Well, basically only good things. We'd see an instant shift to a more sustainable way of doing business and a better world. Will we get to this utopia? Probably not. But every step in that direction is a good step. Question over there, right at the back. Can regulation and laws drive change? Most definitely. In Australia, some of you might know that back in 2018, November, December, we passed a law. It's the Modern Slavery Act. Basically stipulates that any organisation with 100 million plus turnover has to prepare and make publicly available a modern slavery statement, which basically covers their strategy and compliance within their organization, but also within their supply chain around modern slavery. Now I see some quizzical faces in the back of the audience there. What is modern slavery? Never heard of that thing. Is there slavery in Australia? Of course not. There can't be slavery in Australia. Let me get back to you on that one. Let me start with a global picture. Globally, there are about 40 to 80 million slaves on this planet. Let me repeat that, 40 to 80 million slaves. If you look at the entire population, worst case, that's 1 in 100 people on this planet is in a slave-like position. Take the lower number, roughly 1 in 200. Hotspots include North Korea, Eritrea, Burundi, Afghanistan, closer to home, Pakistan, Cambodia, Vietnam. You put this number in context as well. The peak of modern slavery, if I can say a thing like that, peak of modern slavery, not modern slavery, between the 15th and 18th centuries, there was an estimated 13 million people in slavery. I've got 40 to 80 million now, so definitely got a challenge. Of course, the population's grown in the meantime, but we have allegedly become a bit more sophisticated. Some other facts that might be a bit disturbing. 1 in 4 slaves are children. Women make up about 70% of all slaves. Now let's get back to Australia. Australia, no slaves, of course not. Unfortunately, the number there is between 5,000 to 10,000 slaves. But not as bad as the US, there's 400,000 there. Okay, bigger population again, but still 400,000 is a big number. But hang on, question right at the back there. Where are these slaves? Good question. Slaves clean houses and flats. They produce the clothes we wear. They pick the fruit and vegetables we eat. They trawl the seas for the prawns on our restaurant plates. They dig for minerals that are used in our smartphones and electric cars. And they work on construction jobs, building infrastructure, like the 2020 Soccer World Cup Stadium. So it's there. In Australia, hotspots for slavery, agriculture, cleaning, security, and the sex industry. Now the question right at the back. Why is there slavery? It's the good old dollar. It's very lucrative, unfortunately. It is the second most profitable criminal activity after drugs, generating an estimated $150 billion per annum. 150 billion. It is estimated that a forced laborer generates around $8,000 profit per annum, whilst a sex trafficker can earn an average of $36,000 per victim. Bob's got a question there. How can I make a difference? Well, as a private individual, you buy things, goods and services. Start making choices that include ethical and environmental components. If you are in procurement and you actually manage dollars for your organization, try to make a difference by making sure that your purchases are not only driven by price, but also include ethical aspects, such as environmental impacts and social fairness. What is industry doing? That's a question right from the front row there. Well, let me give you an example of a consortium approach. Last October, we launched a shared platform for the Property Council of Australia, which includes companies such as Stockland, Mirvac, AMP, GPT, Fraser's Property. These companies all got together and decided they wouldn't operate in a silo and they would tackle modern slavery as a consortium and develop and launch a collaborative tech solution to monitor, track, and engage with their suppliers with a shared solution. Why did they do this? Well, there's a few reasons for that. A, there's efficiency gains for buyers and suppliers. There's sector consistency. There's improved transparency and visibility. And probably most importantly, they'll have a much greater impact. If a Stockland goes out to a Chinese manufacturer, and I'm not picking on a Chinese manufacturer in particular here, and says, look, we'd like you to behave in this manner, the impact might be reasonably small. Chinese manufacturer might say, look, I've got 1,000 clients. Stockland, I'm not that keen on listening to you. The consortium representing all of these major companies comes out and says, this is how we'd like you to behave. They may listen. So there's definitely a bigger impact with that collaborative approach. Now, has that gained traction? It definitely has. We're about to launch similar collaborative solutions in the healthcare insurance sector and also in the energy utility sector. Now, let's close the circle and finally, let's talk about what schools can do. I think we already have the answer here. I'd love to see schools collaborate in a similar way to the Property Council of Australia and ensure that their purchases are driven by not only environmental and humanitarian aspects, but they collaborate in a manner to really drive change. I'll leave you with that thought, and if anyone would like me to share any of the learnings we had from some of our applications in this space or any other questions around ethical procurement, be more than happy to respond to any questions. I can be reached at info@inform365.com or on 0407 646 179. Many thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of the symposium and please feel free to contact me. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Introducing David Lynch. David is Principal Consultant at Shine Wing Sustainability and CEO and Executive Director of Rethink Sustainability. He is a technologist, an innovator, and a digital thought leader who has combined these passions over many years with a strong focus on sustainable business practices, particularly during his career in China. David lived and worked in Asia for almost 14 years, including Singapore, Shanghai, and Hong Kong, prior to relocating to Melbourne in 2016. As the CEO at an ASX-listed technology company, David led the company into the digital space and significantly uplifted financial performance. Regarded as one of Asia Pacific's leading digital leaders, David led the digital transformation strategy and execution for the DBS Bank in Hong Kong and mainland China. DBS is now regarded as the world's best digital bank. He also established Hong Kong's first dedicated fintech startup accelerator in 2015 in partnership with technology giants Amazon, Microsoft and Samsung. Prior to this, he completed work assignments across the globe in Africa, the Middle East and North and South America. In 2010, David was the inaugural winner of the Australia-China Alumni Award for Corporate Achievement and won the Customer Experience in Financial Services Award in 2015. Please welcome David to the 2020 Sustainability Symposium.
The new reality we found ourselves walking into is nature's way to protest against our habits and behavior, and maybe even defend itself from us. Nature found a way to shut us down, to shut the whole world down. But this coronavirus will pass like all the other viruses. And then what? We are going through a global crisis, and we need to think how things are going to be rebuilt after the storm. Will we go back to normal? Will we ignore the calling of nature? Nature gave us a sign, a huge sign this time. Nature needs a minute to breathe, to heal itself from the continuous damage we're causing it. We have two choices. One, we go back to normal and pretend like nothing never happened and continue with our destructive habits and react to what nature has thrown at us and pray that we'll be able to defend ourselves. Or we can learn our lesson and change. Learn to respect nature and live beside it. Let nature breathe as well as ourselves. We, high school students, are the world's future leaders. We want to learn and be prepared for the future. Isn't that what school is all about? We protested. Now it is time to get ready for the change. How do we get ready? By learning the subject that is going to help us deliver the change. I am a Year 8 student learning Certificate 4 in Environmental Management and Sustainability. This course is training the young students how to be part of environmental management and sustainability in a range of workplace contexts, and provides us with the skills and knowledge required to monitor and address environmental issues in a variety of industry sectors. When we talk about sustainability, we don't only talk about environmental, but also the social and economical side of a business. How does the course do that? Let me walk you through the 8 units of the course. Implement and monitor environmentally sustainable work practices. This unit teaches us how to understand the workplace, so you can find and fix problems related to sustainability and the environment. Another important thing we're going to learn is how to keep control of that. Anybody can say they're doing the right thing, but we must be able to prove it. Implement an environmental management plan. Have you ever thought about how the activities of a business impact the environment? That's what we do with an environmental management plan. We learn how an action might impact the natural environment and set out clear commitments to act to minimize or eliminate the impact. Measure, monitor, and reduce carbon emissions. Greenhouse gas emissions is one of the biggest problems we are facing now. We all know we must find ways to reduce these emissions drastically so we can reduce the speed of global warming. Everything we do produces carbon emissions. We need to reduce it to a minimum so we can have emissions net zero. You will be able to demonstrate the carbon footprint of the business to be able to find out how to reduce these emissions. With these skills, you can transform yourself into one of the real fighters to make the world a place with less greenhouse gases emissions. Assess, implement, monitor, and report on waste management. Waste is another big problem for our planet. We have been suffocating our land, rivers, and oceans. We must find ways to reduce the production of waste and manage properly the waste that we cannot avoid. All businesses and cities must have a waste management plan to identify all types of waste produced, the ones that can be avoided, reduced, reused, recycled, recovered energy, treated, and finally disposed. With a good waste management plan, we can reduce the waste in our planet and save money at the same time. Develop workplace policy and procedures for sustainability. Have you ever thought about a world with no rules? Things would be a mess and nothing would work. That's why policies and procedures are important. They set the limits, guidelines, and best practices of what is acceptable behavior at a business. So if we want to reduce the impact of the business on the natural environment, we need the policies and procedures to make it happen. Without it, people are not going to follow the rules. Identify risk and apply risk management processes. Risk assessment is one of the most important actions all business must take. It helps be prepared for all kinds of problems, including pollution and other environmental impacts. Unfortunately, many people just think about the importance of risk assessment when something goes wrong, like now with so many companies being affected by the COVID-19 virus. This unit is going to teach you how to identify risks and manage those risks so they can be reduced and avoided. Review and implement energy efficiency in business operations. We use energy for everything. Energy makes our lives easier. We have all these amazing gadgets helping us. Computers, air conditioners, dishwashers, so many things. Look around you. Almost everything uses energy. But this is a problem. We use too much energy, and the majority of this energy comes from burning fossil fuels, resulting in carbon emissions, and you know the consequences of that. What can we do to stop the cycle of overconsumption and pollution? That's what you're going to learn in this unit. How to reduce waste of energy, to find alternatives that would help to build a better world. Assist with workplace compliance with WHS laws. Have you ever thought about the health and safety in a workplace? People are also part of the environment. We must take care of the people to avoid injuries. This unit is going to help you understand the WHS legislation to your workplace. If we want to create the biggest positive change in the history, we need to learn how to do it. You may say I'm a dreamer, but you have the power to make this a reality. The time has come.
Introducing Shelley Ben-Giat. Shelley is the founder of Envirotech Education, which she owns with her husband Noah. They operate 3 campuses in Australia and continue to invest in educational innovation. Shelley's passion for international educational collaboration motivates her to establish unique international linkages with worldwide leaders in environmental education instruction. Shelley lives and breathes her passions, the environment, technology, and eco-theology. Education is the medium Shelley has chosen to facilitate change and drive her passion into the future. As the founder of Envirotech Education, Shelley is responsible for one of Australia's fastest growing vocational education colleges, educating students from over 50 countries for the past 10 years. The Envirotech Education team, under Shelley's direction, developed and introduced unique sustainability and environmental management qualifications to assist future leaders to shape the businesses of tomorrow. The first worldwide marine habitat conservation and restoration courses under the vocational system is Shelley's current educational project. Shelley's passion is to manifest innovative digital educational programs and methodologies, connecting ecology with technology, finding ways to make environmental management and sustainability a spiritual journey for students, and to develop skills, knowledge and ethics that can be carried to any industry. I'd now like to welcome Shelley to the 2020 Sustainability Symposium.
Hello, my name is Shelley Ben-Giat. I'm the founder and director of Envirotech Education. Envirotech is an 11 years old training organization, which I founded after arriving to Australia as an international student myself. I'm originally from Israel, and I've participated in vocational education training in Israel and in other countries. And the passion behind Envirotech is to bring international knowledge, skills and passion into everything that we do. We're very proud that our courses bring passion of sustainability across all different cohorts and courses. So does technology. One of our most exciting programs is the Innovation Hub. The Innovation Hub is a 6-month project-based course component which we offer at the end of every diploma and advanced diploma courses. The Innovation Hub offers students to put in practice a real project in a group. All projects must have a sustainability value and also manifest benefits to the community. Innovation Hub already produced various award-winning projects, such as our first project, building a daycare center in Tonga by Volunteer Sustainable Tourism. Recent outcomes that we achieved at the Innovation Hub was a waste audit program for children aged 8 to 10 years old, which was delivered in various schools on the Gold Coast with great success.
Look what they did. How are we going to judge the winner? I don't know.
Can we not just give them all the prize?
115 of them. I know.
Envirotech team is proud and privileged to be the first RTO with courses in marine habitat conservation and restoration in the vocational framework. The marine courses are a fruit of a passion. Our partners are professors and marine experts from Israel, and together with our team here in Australia, we have explored the extremely affected marine ecosystem and the inability of current skill sets to mitigate the ongoing damage. We've identified that the marine conservation and restoration sector present a glass ceiling with the lack of vocational education where indigenous communities, fishermen, and other similar coastal community members were unable to participate in marine habitat conservation restoration in their affected areas. Currently, the marine industry is predominantly available for students that have graduated from universities with bachelor, masters, or PhDs. Therefore, local communities, remote and islanders, have lesser ability to connect with marine studies. And the long duration of bachelors and masters may not even allow for graduates to meet those habitats that are now diminishing so quickly, with bleaching events year after year, affecting our precious environment, such as the Great Barrier Reef, the largest living organism in the world, being affected by over 60% collapse in less than 3 years. The goal is to quickly create a new workforce that already is connected to the oceans by living in island areas and being fishermen. I believe that during this COVID-19 crisis, humanity has an urgent request to put new foundations into curriculums across all levels of education. Most important, high schools. All around the world, high schools are basing the curriculum on very generic type of occupations such as mathematics, language, and even history. Yet we do not consider the future, and especially the environment, as core subjects to teach. I believe that as we all now retreat to study from home, we have the opportunity to bring into our curriculum system full awareness to what we have been experiencing and for what children are seeking for innovative solutions and answers as part of their training and preparation for the world they will inherit from us. Putting environmental management and sustainability, marine conservation restoration, and the science of preserving water, air, and nutrients in our land is crucial to be implemented in all high schools. Throughout the last 2 years, we have been piloting the programs of environmental management and sustainability alongside courses of technology, video editing and digital media with various children from the age of 10 to 13 years old. We have gained very strong satisfaction from the outcomes of this pilot group, producing award-winning videos year after year, and also to being able to synthesize environmental management and sustainability concepts in a manner that resonates so well with children and promote them to seek further studies at their own time. The change will come from our children as long as we will take accountability and the courage to quickly embrace environmental management and sustainability in all our school-based curriculum, so that we can ask the right questions and challenge the innovation and free spirit solutions that students can deliver and drive as they are preparing to lead our world in times of severe environmental impact, challenges, and expected future crises.
I am here to speak on behalf of the starving children around the world whose cries go unheard. I am here to speak for the countless animals dying across this planet because they have nowhere left to go. I am afraid to go out in the sun now because of the holes in our ozone. I am afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it.
The world is hungry for this message, that we are desperate to hear someone speak the truth, speak this message. We need someone to cut through all of the rationalization that we have built up for the destruction of our planet. And no one can do this better than those with everything at stake, which is our youth.
The EU elections are coming up soon, and many of us who will be affected the most by this crisis, people like me, are not allowed to vote. Nor are we in a position to shape the decisions of business, politics, engineering, media, education, or science. Because the time it takes for us to educate ourselves to do that simply does no longer exist. And that is why millions of children are taking it to the streets, school striking for the climate to create attention for the climate crisis.
If we become ecological tyrants and insist on the exploitation of the earth, we will experience catastrophic consequences. Every one of us knows that it is already upon us, but nothing drastic has changed. It's time to wake up. We live like there is no tomorrow, but tomorrow will come. If we enjoy it or not, it is in our hands.
It is my belief that children from all ages should have these subjects included in their training, from daycare all the way to primary and high school. Yet in high school, especially these years, we have the responsibility to act swiftly and professionally to bring environmental management and sustainability into the curriculum, as our young graduates will soon be in a workforce that is scarred from the COVID-19 virus and have to learn how to redevelop itself in a manner that supports nature. I believe that education providers in Australia and internationally have now responsibility and extraordinary opportunity to rethink the core values behind our education and how they connect to the world around us. Both matter and spirit have to be addressed when we look at the decade which we have entered into with droughts, fires, floods, and COVID-19. I believe that the environmental crisis is in fact a spiritual crisis. I've invested my passion in the latest years in ecotheology. I've learned that many faiths have delivered various frameworks that discuss environmental management and sustainability on an ethical, spiritual value. We have been experiencing and ignoring an ongoing challenge to choose between right and evil. It is a daily quest when we go to the supermarket, when we reach our hands towards products that are polluting, have a very high footprint value chain costs, and yet we choose them over and over again simply because they are cheaper and because we decide to put aside the knowledge of our choices outcome towards the natural environment and the condition of the earth. Addressing the environmental issue as spiritual issue will assist humanity to overcome its needs for immediate satisfaction from unnecessary products and the ignorance of the price, the ecological price, which is connected to the various products that we consume blindly and without a second thought every day. It is necessary that we take into our home a new accountability and new ethical standards in how much waste we produce, in how much energy we consume, and what we really need to live a healthy life. Thank you.
Our final speaker for the 2020 Sustainability Symposium Operational Leader Program is Tess Nichols. Tess is the Program and Partnerships Coordinator at Climate Clever, an innovative, data-driven online platform that enables schools in the community to measure, track and compare their utility consumption and carbon footprint, reduce their emissions and utility costs, and increase their knowledge around climate change and sustainability. Their award-winning schools program is designed to be student-led and is linked to the curriculum, and it'll be a great asset to your sustainability toolkit. Tessa's experience spans the NGO, charity and private sectors, where she's worked in a variety of countries including England, Kenya, Namibia and Australia. An ecologist by training, Tess collaborated with WWF to bring about Earth Hour 2019 and supported the UN Great Ape Survival Partnership. She has experience mentoring youth on a variety of environmental issues and has a drive to bring about positive change through environmental education. A partnership between the SSN and Climate Clever means that there is a special deal available for schools as part of the 2020 Sustainability Symposium. I'd now like to welcome Tess to present information about Climate Clever.
Hi there, my name's Tess and I am the Programme and Partnerships Coordinator at Climate Clever. First, I'd like to thank the Sustainable Schools Network and everyone who's been a part of organising this Sustainability Symposium. You've been incredibly adaptable given the current climate, and I'm really excited to be a part of this virtual conference. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the Climate Clever initiative, which is an online platform that enables schools and now households and the community to measure and track your carbon footprint and utility consumption, reduce your emissions and costs, and increase your knowledge around climate change and sustainability. I'm going to start by showing you a quick little video to give you an overview of what the initiative is all about, and then I'll take you through a short presentation on how we got to where we are today, and I'll finish off with telling you how you and your school or household can get involved. A little bit about me. I am the Programme and Partnerships Coordinator at Climate Clever, as I mentioned, and I've had a very varied background. I'm an ecologist by training, so I've had the privilege to work right across the world. I was lucky enough to work in Kenya for a while with the United Nations, and more recently here in Australia with WWF. I have a real interest in the power of education and how specifically environmental education can be used to bring about really positive change.
Footprints in the world. To meet our climate targets, we need to dramatically reduce our carbon footprint. We can't ignore this elephant in the room any longer. So what can you do? Where do you even start? Climate Clever is a beautifully simple app and an engaging platform that helps you to measure and reduce your carbon footprint. We can help you to understand the key sources contributing to your carbon footprint. You can choose from and even add to a growing library of evidence-based actions implemented by our Climate Clever community. And our data-driven analytics allows you to accurately track your ongoing impact. The great news is you'll save money too. One of our Climate Clever schools reduced their energy, water and waste consumption by 30% in just 4 months, saving them more than $5,000. Imagine what you could save your school, business or household. We all have a responsibility to act. Together we can make a big difference. So the Climate Clever journey started back in 2012.
when our founder and CEO, Dr. Vanessa Rowland, was doing her PhD on low carbon living and volunteered to help a local WA high school called South Fremantle Senior High School to become the first carbon neutral school in Australia. And that school went on to save hundreds of thousands of dollars from their utility bills, reduce their carbon footprint dramatically, embed sustainability and STEM into the curriculum, and raise loads of awareness throughout the community. The school effectively became a sustainability hub within their community. While we know that schools aren't the biggest emitters, the benefit of targeting schools extends far beyond just the carbon output of the schools themselves. Schools form a pivotal role in society, and therefore targeting schools has the potential to influence a significant portion of society, as well as help to educate future leaders around sustainable resource management and low carbon living. And kids can be very convincing as well. So we started off by doing loads of research to identify what barriers schools were facing and where the opportunities lay. We reviewed the existing programs and tools that were already out there and held workshops to identify where the gaps were. We identified a bunch of key challenges which we addressed in the design of our program. The two most common barriers faced by schools were financial and time restraints, which will probably sound all too familiar to a lot of you. Schools often have no systematic approach to their sustainability journey, and because there's a real lack of tools to calculate their carbon footprint, it's very hard for them to know how they're tracking and where they stand compared to other schools. We also identified a lack of learning resources and lesson plans. One of the major problems that schools are facing is that their buildings and facilities are aging rapidly and becoming increasingly inefficient and costly to run. And because there's been little focus on this sector over the years and little data available, schools have no idea how they're performing compared to other schools. The curriculum is another issue. Sustainability is one of the 3 national cross-curriculum priorities that schools are supposed to teach, but there's no systematic approach or universal resources available for teachers, so sustainability initiatives are often taught on an ad hoc basis. So really combining these 2 issues present a massive opportunity. And so we used the knowledge gained from our previous experience at South Fremantle High School and the scoping study to design the programme. We secured some funding from the CRC for Low Carbon Living and had a PhD student, Portia, do her research around the programme. And this is what we called our low-tech, low-cost pilot, which ran for 2 years and involved 15 schools from WA. We gave each of the schools Excel spreadsheets to record their utility costs and consumption from electricity, gas and water, from which we were then able to calculate their carbon footprint. And they came up with a whole host of low carbon actions which they put into Google Docs to create an action plan on how they were going to reduce their carbon footprint and costs. We also coordinated monthly meetups for these 15 schools. Each school took a turn hosting, and it really allowed everyone to come together, discuss what was working, what wasn't, give each other support, and the meetups really became a pivotal part of the programme. So when the data came in, it revealed some really interesting things. The light blue bar on this graph represents student numbers, and the dark blue represents school emissions. The red line signifies the total cost. If we look at these 2 schools first, we can see that they have a similar number of students, but vastly different emissions. The 2 schools got talking and realised that there was a whole host of reasons why one of them was consuming a lot more than the other. Now let's look at the second example here. These 2 schools have a similar number of students and similar emissions, but one school is paying way more than the other. So they got together and started talking and realised that one of them was on a much higher electricity tariff. So they went back to their provider, were able to change it and saved loads of money. So it really shows the power of data. Here's a snapshot of just some of the actions that the schools identified, which included turning off gas pilot lights, saving $29 per day, moving chilled water fountains out of the sun or turning the chilled function off altogether in the summer, fixing water leaks. One school saved 10,000 litres of water a day just from hidden water leaks, carrying out extensive switch-off campaigns of the computers at the end of the day and also over the holiday period. So over the 2-year pilot, they identified over 600 initiatives, 60% of which were low or no cost actions. and on average across 70% of the schools they save $30 on utility bills per student. They also reduced their carbon footprint by 20% per student across the 15 schools, which is really incredible. And one of the really cool parts of the programme was a tree planting scheme instigated by a community member from one of the schools. And together they planted 50,000 trees, which allowed all of the 15 schools to go totally carbon neutral at the end of the pilot. So a really cool part of the programme. In late 2017, we won a grant from AMP, which enabled us to start building our app. So we rebranded as Climate Clever and launched the programme nationally. So we now have a beautifully simple and engaging data-driven app. Our school app is also designed to be predominantly student-led. So our web-based app is based around these three modules: measure, audit and action. Schools put their utility bills from electricity, gas, water and waste into our online carbon calculator first in the measure section, and this provides their baseline carbon footprint from which to track emissions and costs annually, and they can also compare their results to other schools right across the country. Our audit tool allows schools to record all of their appliances to really understand where they're consuming resources and how this impacts their carbon footprint. And the personalised climate action plan provides tips and advice to schools to reduce their carbon footprint. Users can also assign tasks and actions, set deadlines, track progress and share their experiences. We also have continued with the meetups, which we hold quarterly for our participating schools, and we're continuing with the tree planting programme as well. And we're super excited to have just launched the home version of our app last month. The home app works in much the same way as the schools programme by measuring and monitoring your household costs, consumption and carbon footprint, and allowing you to audit your home, creating a strategic action plan on how you're going to reduce your carbon footprint. So there is incredible potential for schools and individuals to reduce their carbon footprint, and through our pilots we've demonstrated exactly how it can be done. It's never been more important for us all to step up and lead the way in transitioning towards a low carbon future. We'd love to welcome your school or household to our platform in 2020. Both of our school and our home apps are 50% off at the moment. The Climate Clever app is currently a web-based app, so you can sign up by going to our website, and as we've recently partnered with the Sustainable Schools Network, you can use the code which will be displayed on the screen in a minute. Many thanks for watching this virtual presentation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Sustainability Symposium.